The time is 10:18 p.m. on February 18th, 2020. My name is Mickey, and welcome to another installment of the BackYard Bullshit podcast, this time with 2020 vision. I am joined here by Coolhand and Dealer.
Good to be back.
Hey guys.
You guys are in for quite a show tonight, as we have been gone for a bit, so there is a lot to talk about. First of all, let's go over the America's Pastime baseball and talk about that World Series. For example, the Washington Nationals came out the winner in 7 games, all at Houston. What do y'all make of that?
Well, I think it was interesting how all 7 games were not at Houston, but the World Series Game 7 was won in Houston. And no home team had won any games in that World Series, and I found that really, really interesting.
I thought the Nationals put up a good fight. They figured out the Astros. Supposedly the Yankees told them that they thought they were cheating, which we'll get to later. But when the Nationals used against them and pulled out in 7, Strasburg was good, Scherzer was good. They hit at the right time. They really just outplayed the Astros in that World Series. They outpitched them.
Yeah, I thought Game 2 was laughable with that 12-13 Nationals win in Houston. I thought that was a real laugher there. I thought Juan Soto really showed his true colors. He's a young kid on a big stage. How's he going to do? He's going to do freaking great. That's what he's going to do. He's going to smash a home run in his first World Series appearance ever. And he's just going to keep on mashing. Kid was unbelievable. Felt like
Nationals are set to go again this year, other than losing Rendon, which is a big loss.
I'm so sure on the Nationals going again to the World Series.
I'm not sure going to the World Series, but I think they make the playoffs.
I can hear that. I can see a wild card because I just don't see them getting past Atlanta for the division.
Yeah, Atlanta just stacked themselves in the offseason, but
yeah, I think there's a lot of holes to fill. Mostly third base for the Nationals. With Rendon going away, that's a huge hole.
Yes. It is a huge hole.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's a big bat to lose.
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole interesting thing was, it came down to be that the Astros out-hit the Nationals, but the Nationals just got more runs across the entire World Series. And I think that was
they had better clutch hitting. They hit better with 2 outs. They hit better with runners in scoring position.
Right. I think it was really
just relied on the home run a little too much. Yeah.
What do you think about pulling Greinke in Game 7 for Harris?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm not sure I want Greinke starting Game 7 anyways. He really didn't pitch all that great in the playoffs for the Astros.
Right. Yeah. I didn't expect that kind of Greinke start. I really didn't.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be that bad in the playoffs, but he was awful.
Except for Game 7.
It was very Yu Darvish of him.
Gave up nothing in Game 7. Not one run. Until Will Harris comes in.
Just gets lit up.
That was a bad move by the Astros.
Like I said, Greinke's been pitching terrible that was the only decent game he had. The entire playoffs. He got rocked by the Rays. He got rocked twice by the.
It's the 7th inning. You're going into the 7th inning, and Greinke's only given up a single.
Yeah, no, he had an unbelievable game. He was having a great game. But
yeah, I agree. I agree that the warning signs were there to pull him, and I think that Will Harris made a phenomenal pitch. But Howie Kendrick just really pulled that out of talent. Lifted that into the field. I don't think anybody expected that.
I don't think anybody expected Howie Kendrick to be as good as he was in that World Series as he was.
The entire postseason run, that guy was a miracle. It just seemed like, backs against the wall. You want Howie Kendrick at the plate, and I would never have picked Howie Kendrick to be the clutch player.
That is not the answer that I would normally give.
Yeah, you got Adam Eaton, Juan Soto, Anthony Rendon, Kurtz, people like that, maybe even Zimmerman.
Yeah.
But they're like, you know what? We want Howie Kendrick to be our clutch player. What? Well,
No.
Sometimes maybe after you get through some of those big names, you relax a little bit because you're like, oh, it's just Howie Kendrick, and you make a phenomenal pitch, and the guy puts it in as a souvenir.
There's also a mental exhaustion aspect to it. You've had to battle so hard mentally and physically to get through all those really tough guys.
Yeah.
That you're hoping to be able to take like a small break. And
one of the things I thought was huge was that after the Nationals got the 3-2 lead, the Astros didn't close down the game. They gave up another run in the eighth, and then they gave up 2 more than that. That's hard. 3-2 ball game, Game 7 of the World Series, and you start coughing up runs with your best closer. Oof.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. I like the World Series. I had a lot of fun watching it. I had a lot of fun hate cheering against the Astros.
Yeah, it was a little disappointing for me. I'd like to sing a second one.
Yeah, it must have been nice for you to see one where they didn't cheat to win it.
And we'll get into that topic later. But as for your boy Mickey, I'm just glad that my homie Max Scherzer now has a World Series ring, and so does Strasburg, with him being named the World Series MVP. And speaking of Strasburg, he entered the world of free agency for a whole, 3 days before the Washington Nationals brought a dump truck full of money to his house?
Yeah.
So let's...
Well, that one.
Oh yeah, of course. So let's just go over the baseball's off-season moves, because there's been a plenty, and let's start with the big one, with Garrett Cole going to the Yankees.
Yeah, that was a great move. I think that it was so telling when at the end of the World Series they go to talk to Keuchel and they're like, "Hey man, are you interested in staying in Houston?" And this dude isn't even entertaining the thought. He isn't even wearing Astros merch. There's still champagne on the floor. It hasn't even been cleaned up, and this dude's wearing a hat representing his agent. This dude's like, it's payday. They're like, what about Houston? He's like, payday.
Money.
Yeah, they're like, what about a hometown discount? Did I stutter? I want money.
No, as a matter of fact, I'm going to move all the way to the other side of the country from where I'm from.
Yeah.
So I can pay lots and lots of money.
In reality, I don't judge you.
No, you should absolutely do that.
Yeah. If you were in his place, would you turn down that kind of money?
Oh, I've said, if I say it once, I'll say it a million times. Sell out every chance you get. Make the money you want now, and you can do whatever you want later.
Oh yeah, for sure. So it's been.
I hate the Yankees, but if they offered me that kind of money, dude, I would put the pinstripes on. Dude, even give me like 10% of that money. I'm rolling pinstripes tomorrow.
Oh yeah. New York. What was it?
I'll be singing the praises. I'll be the biggest New York Yankee fan of all time. I promise.
Fuck you, Joe Buck. You hate New York. I hate you now. Yeah, that'd be me. I would. You play for so little of your life, and to say that you're going to take a hometown discount, and it's not like he's going to a crappy New York Yankee team.
Yeah.
So it's not like
ready to go. Some young prospects.
This team's willing to back up the dump truck full of money, and they have a team that's competing to go to the World Series basically every year since 2015. This is a horrible year. If the Miami Marlins backed up the dump truck, that's a hard. you put no trade clause for all 30, all teams, and that way
you
whenever
put
they
a
trade
no trade clause in for like the Rays. Well, the Rays wouldn't trade for you anyways.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Side question here. You sign a deal, and you get to put a no trade clause to 3 teams. Who are you picking?
The A's, Marlins, and Milwaukee. I know the Brewers are a good team. I just don't want to go to Milwaukee.
That's a tough one.
No, actually, I'll switch out Milwaukee and I'll put Tampa Bay.
You hate Florida, don't you?
Florida just needs to show up. I don't want to play in front of 10,000 fans. Like last year, LSU had more fans per game than the Marlins did. Like,
that's terrible. That's embarrassing for baseball.
That's embarrassing. They have a 10,000 person stadium. Like,
wow.
Like I want to be able to play at least in front of sort of a crowd. And then Oakland's, the Coliseum's just a piece of garbage. I just don't want to play there.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well,
How about you?
What is our famous? What's our famous producer here say? What's his 3 teams?
I would go Detroit. I think I'd also go Miami. And then the 3rd team... Oh, Baltimore. There is no one player that can turn that franchise around as good as Garrett Cole is. And Baltimore had a... When healthy, Baltimore's offense is decent, but what they really need is pitching.
Mike Trout doesn't make the playoffs with the Angels.
You're right. I just think that Baltimore will be more halfway competent with the Angels because I have no hope in the Angels anymore to do the right thing. So that's just me. You had C.J. Wilson,
a lot of money on
Hamilton,
it,
all these people.
Well, Dealer, what 3 teams would you not want to be traded to?
That one's kind of easy for me. I would say the Oakland A's. They literally have sewage going into the dugout. I don't want that. Yeah, even though as a pitcher I'd be like, oh, this is a great park for me. It's cold. A lot of big issues there. The crime. I'd probably be that one guy who takes the BART every single day to the park, just so I don't get mugged at the red light with my car. Probably not enjoy how poverty my team is. I think they actually use Velcro in the back of jerseys as how fast players get traded out of there. So that's probably me right there. My second pick would be Toronto. I don't want to have to use my passport every time I'm flying to a baseball game, Kind of ridiculous. And then I'd probably pick it's a real toss-up between the Mariners and Detroit. And, I'm just going to go see Seattle. Again, they have the worst flight schedule because they have to fly across the country so much. Look at the hours that the average MLB player spends in the sky traveling. Seattle is way ahead of everybody else. So that takes a toll on your body. When you're spending the majority of your time away from your family, away from your home, away from the ballpark practicing, and you're just sitting in an airplane. Not with a good franchise either, right? You're not spending a lot of time to go knock down someone's door. You're literally going there just to get your tushy kick and fly back somewhere else. Oh, and then when you walk outside of your own ballpark, people are shooting right there on your sidewalk. So yeah, please clean that up. But, yeah.
Those are definitely problems that Garrett Cole will not have to deal with when he is in the Big Apple. And while we're on the subject of the Big Apple, their big rival, the Boston Red Sox, made another offseason move by trading Mookie Betts to the Los Angeles Dodgers.
That's a good move. That really was for the Dodgers. I believe it was a great move. You have one of the hottest outfield bats, and then you have David Price. I'm not excited about David Price. David Price is being paid like an ace pitcher, and he's like a 4 or 5 star, which is exactly what they needed to replace Ryu. But they get him for a year. It's a nice little stopgap, not bad. But sending as much talent as they did, 3 prospects for those 2, oof, that's a heavy. So
and 2 pretty high-end prospects. That Verdugo kid's supposed to be unbelievable.
Yes, Verdugo, and he does come with the red flags. How about remember the little girl down there in Arizona? No?
Yeah.
Yeah, red flag right there. Hopefully he can stay away from that. So, apparently, Gabe Kapler and the police thoroughly investigated it, so, I don't know how much to read that, but LA won the trade, in my opinion. But, it's sad to see them blowing away the luxury tax. There is a cap for a reason in baseball, and the Dodgers are blatantly ignoring it, along with other teams, and that is aggravating. I would like to see a cap and a floor installed in baseball.
Well, did you hear about what happened with Manchester City over in the English Premier League?
Ooh, do tell.
From European play for 2 years, because they instituted what was called fair play rules, where you couldn't spend more money than you were making, essentially. And what they got caught doing was fudging numbers, essentially, by saying that this money came from sponsorship when it actually came from like the ownership.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So basically,
Operating at a deficit.
to make sure I have this right, European soccer has a rule very similar to the cap and ceiling that Dealer spoke of earlier, but Manchester City was actually lying about where the money they got to spend on players and such came from.
Right, like, you just can't spend more money than you're bringing in through sponsorship and jersey sales and all that kind of stuff. And
You can't trust that. I believe that tarnishes the sport a lot, and it really brings into question now, from now on out, how teams are getting so much money. People are going to be questioning it left and right. I believe the punishment is right. I believe that was a good punishment. I like that punishment. It lets them still play, but they're banned from the playoffs. Is that correct?
they're essentially banned. So over there, you try to win like your league title, and then you try to qualify to play in Europe. That's where you really make your money over there. Is European Champions League. And they got banned from that for 2 years and fined £30 million.
Right.
30 million pounds?
£30 million.
Well, since we're on the punishment train, we might as well talk about this subject, and that would be the Houston Astros. Yes, for those of you who are unaware, that was Dealer banging what I presume to be a trash can-like object, because that is one of the methods the Houston Astros used to tell the batters what pitch the pitcher was about to throw at them, because the Astros were stealing signs. The punishment that the Major League Baseball dealt out to the Houston Astros franchise, they were fined $5 million, lost their two first-round draft picks for the next 2 years, and I don't know if this was directed by the MLB, but they did lose some executives. The Astros franchise did. So, Dealer, Coolhand, we before the show, I learned that you two had some innate disagreements about this, so I'm gonna let you two have at it.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into this just to kind of set the water. I believe that there was varying levels of cheating. And I believe some of them are warranted and some of them are unproven. Okay? I believe the trash can is proven. I believe the buzzer is not proven. It's speculation, and we don't know at this point. So I acknowledge that, right? I'm not one of those fanatics that are like, oh man, Josh Reddick has buzzer on him, and it was competitive. I believe it was hype from Twitter, and I believe people are going rampant about it. I believe, it was suspicious how Jose Altuve was holding his jersey. I can see that. I see that as suspicious. I understand completely, right? I find it a little bit more suspicious how Correa tried to cover up for him and say, hey, he had a bad tattoo. And then they found that picture of him without the tattoo on at the beach with all his buddies. It's not helping. You're just lying. And Altuve says, oh, he's shy. But there's photos of Altuve constantly, year after year, with his shirt basically open at the ballpark, showing off his abs and stuff, and social media is him shirtless. It's suspicious. Is it proof that he's cheating? No. Who goes up against Chapman looking for sliders? Yeah, nobody does that. Nobody goes up to Chapman, the guy who throws 100 miles an hour, thinking, just wait till he throws me an off-speed pitch. Nobody does it. So, and you can't say, oh, I'm looking for an off-speed in a certain location. You can't be that big with Chapman, really. So, yeah, maybe Chapman just put it in his wheelhouse. That could be it, too. But the irrefutable fact is they did cheat with the trash can. I think every Astros fan acknowledges that, and if they don't, they're lying to themselves. Am I right about that?
Well, I guess the difference for me is I just don't care. Like,
okay,
I don't
fair.
think the trash can thing's actually that big of a deal. I think it's being blown out of proportion because it's an easy thing to attack. In the grand scheme of things, they weren't punished all that, greatly. I don't think $5 million for draft picks is all that much to give up in the grand scheme of things when they draft as well as they do. And frankly, I thought what the Cardinals did to the Astros a couple years ago was even worse. When they hacked in and stole their all their prospect info.
I don't. I see the degree of the hacking for Gavin. I see that as severe. But I see banging on a trash can on live television so loud that the ballpark can hear it, and the cameras with the TV broadcast catch it. I see that as severe. And I see it as
everybody does it. It's not.
Not everybody is.
The Red Sox and the Yankees were already fined for that. Remember the Apple Watch incident?
With the Red Sox?
Yeah.
Not the Yankees.
Well, the Yankees got fined too. They just swept that one a little more under the rug. Because it's the Yankees and not the Astros. The Astros just aren't the big market franchise, even though Houston's the 4th largest city in the country.
The Yankees were fined for the dugout phone. That's all I find.
They had a few other stuff that happened.
Okay, because it said the last fine that they've been fined officially by MLB was 2017 regarding the 2016 season, that the dugout phone was not going to the right spot.
That's kind of a big deal too, if you're listening in on their conversations.
The dugout phone was going to the replay booth. Yeah, that's what they got fined for. So I think they ended up fixing that.
I'm not a conspiracy theory guy, but I also think they're more willing to sweep the Yankee stuff under the rug a little bit. They don't need the Yankees.
I agree. I think that it helped the Astros how the Red Sox were also using this, and Manfred is a Red Sox, poster child. So I think that helped out the Astros a lot. I think that they definitely got a very, very, very light sentence, because I know on my behalf as a team who's never won the World Series, I would definitely trade my GM, my manager, and 2 years of draft picks for a World Series win in a heartbeat, right?
Right.
A lot of teams would. Mariners, for sure. Probably the Brewers. And before the season, probably, the Nationals teams who've never won it. Padres, all those teams. I bet they would be in line to cheat too, right? I think that there's levels that you don't believe their stories. You know how they said, we couldn't speak up against Beltran. I don't believe that.
I don't believe that for a second. Like, they asked Tony Kemp about it, who's in Oakland now, and he basically said they asked him to do it, and he said no. And no one ever gave him
evidence
shit
of
about
him.
it.
And there's evidence of him having the trash can banned. And he's actually on video with it banging. And it's like, and Marvin Gonzalez is like, oh, I'm sorry. That's it.
I will say this, Jim Crane's apology was probably the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, I agree. Absolutely.
All you do is...
No, we didn't impact the game. It's like going up to your wife and saying, hey, look, I slept with somebody.
The game, and then he said that it impacted the game.
Yeah.
Like,
I
contradicted
think
himself
that's
like 4 times in the apology. And I was like, dude, what are you doing?
It's like a guy walking up to his wife and being like, hey, honey, look, I know I cheated on you, but I just don't see how it affected our marriage.
Yeah. I don't understand how it's involved in this.
Yeah. No, and then you're getting divorced and you're like, what? All I did was just sleep with some other women. It's unbelievable, some of these apologies. And it's like, guys, you got a light sentence. Just apologize.
Right.
And move on. Get everybody, look, send out a memo saying, look, if you're confronted by it, say, I'm ashamed of my actions, I'm apologetic, and I want to move forward,
See, I would just get up and say, I don't apologize for shit. Let's get going. And I'll just take my free base every time you hit me. Let's go.
I would plug people. And I would actually aim for people in the kneecap, because that's way harder to heal from. So I wouldn't even go for your head, because I get that, hey, that's somebody's life. But your knee isn't life-threatening, but your knee is career-ending. So I'm going for knees. That would be me as a pitcher. Especially if someone says that kind of attitude,
Did you see what the over-under is on how many hit by pitches this year?
Oh no, what's that?
83.5.
Oh man, as a Ranger fan, I want to see that doubled, but and then Dusty Baker, that was hilarious. You banged on a trash can, and now you're gonna be managed by one. I can already see that ALDS loss thanks to Dusty Baker making a boneheaded move.
You know what's really gonna have to happen? The Astros can't get off to a bad start. If they get off to a bad start, they are just gonna get railed.
Really?
If they get off to a decent start, they'll be fine. And that's all.
No.
But
Okay.
if they get off to a really bad start.
Yeah, no. People still reference the Black Sox. People still reference Pete Rose.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Reference Braun and A-Rod. They're always getting taken.
But A-Rod and Pete Rose are both doing TV for MLB now. So,
right.
I mean, people move on.
People still talk about Doc Ellis, and you can't even watch his no-hitter.
Yeah.
So, people, okay, the real fans aren't going to forget. They're not going to let the Astros get this down. 2017's tainted it. I would say everywhere in the MLB except for South Texas.
Do you believe Pete Rose should be eligible for the Hall of Fame?
I personally believe that. But
I think he should go.
there's a lot. I think there's a difference between the Hall of Fame and the Hall of Fame role players.
There's one thing we gotta look at the Hall of Fame right now. Currently, it doesn't have its all-time hit leader or its all-time home run leader. And second most
Bonds
strikeouts.
does not belong there.
Bonds?
Bonds and McGuire do not belong.
Well, I'm not talking about McGuire.
I understand.
Bonds and Clemens.
Sosa, yeah. Proven steroid cheaters do not belong.
Batting average, hits and home runs are arguably two of the most important statistics in baseball. And you don't have any of the top guys in there?
When he cheated.
Oh, then everybody cheats. Mike Trout cheats. You know how Mike Trout cheats?
Yeah, I've heard of this. I've heard of this one.
His natural ability. That's how he cheats. He's just God-given talent. That's how he cheats compared to everybody else.
I didn't hear that one.
Yeah, you didn't see that coming, did you?
I did. I heard that he had like a bone deficiency or something, and that's why he's able to get a doctor-approved one.
Lance Armstrong has a heart that produces like 3 times as much blood as anybody else's.
But he still has to recycle his blood.
Well, that was after. Yeah, fucking testicular cancer.
You know, the Hall of Fame thing is going to be really tainted with Altuve. I firmly believe it because we just saw how picky the writers are with Derek Jeter. One person did not
The
vote for
one
Derek
guy who didn't vote him in.
There's a part of me in my heart that hopes it's true that the guy just forgot to send in his ballot, and that's why he didn't get unanimous. He was like, "Oh shit!"
I honestly, I don't think Derek Jeter should have been unanimous unless you're gonna put like Ken Griffey Jr. in unanimous. Hell, Babe Ruth didn't go unanimous.
You cannot base future players on the past mistakes. Mike Trout. Oh, should he not go in unanimous because of Ken Griffey Jr.?
No, he will go in unanimous. But Derek Jeter wasn't the best. Isn't the best shortstop of all time. Mike Trout might be the best right-handed hitter ever.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, you're talking about like Mariano went 100%, but he was also the best ever to do what he did.
Yes, you know, and that is a very picky debate because.
In the grand scheme of things, either the Hall of Fame or not. I think, you know...
Everybody knows Derek Jeter's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. But all these other guys...
Mr. November
Nolan Ryan, all these other guys that should have been 100%. I agree. Nolan Ryan only got like 78% or something when he got in.
That's ridiculous and that's shameful. It's a real stain on the Hall of Fame. And also what's doing it bad is Larry Walker is not a Hall of Fame player. He's a Hall of Fame.
I actually think Larry Walker is a Hall of Fame player. But my standards for the Hall of Fame are a little low, I guess, than the average. Just because I think it's so hard just to be a major leaguer.
Okay.
That if
I have a very high standard. Okay. And I believe the Hall of Fame is different from the Hall of Very Good. I believe the Hall of Fame
should be in the Hall of Fame, but...
Oh, I agree with you. I believe that there should be a few tests. So not only do you have the statistics, not only do you have do they follow the rules, not only do you have postseason or team impact, those kind of things, impact on the game's image, and but if you go to a household and say Derek Jeter, how many kids know?
Well, that's just because he played for the Yankees. Had he played for the fucking Brewers or something?
If you go to, say, Randy Johnson, how many people do you think in the early 2000s or 90s would know who Randy Johnson is?
Not many.
A lot.
But that's also because he's a freak. Like, he's like a tall...
He is a Hall of Famer.
Martinez before he went to the Expos. I mean, before he went to the
the
Red
Expos
Sox.
didn't help him. Yeah, the Expos.
I meant to
that's
say
where
the
players
Red
go.
Sox.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wait, the Expos is where he started, that's
And then
basically
he
where he started
went
rocking.
to the Red Sox and had arguably the 3 best pitching years of all time.
I could give you that there's a little bit of media bias in it, but the Hall of Fame should be a very, very exclusive group. That's just my personal opinion. I can see the point that baseball is suffering and needs more people. We need to celebrate players. And in that case, open it. Open up the Hall of Fame standards to your level.
Like, Evan Longoria's not going to get in the Hall of Fame, okay?
He does not deserve it.
But if you look at his numbers, he's as good as any third baseman that's in the Hall of Fame. His numbers are going to be almost the same as Mike Schmidt. And who's considered arguably the best third baseman of all time.
Right.
But because he played in Tampa, he never got the hubbub and the,
Right.
There are a lot of shortstops in the Hall of Fame that have better numbers than Jeter did. A lot of them.
Mm-hmm. But Derek Jeter put in
But because he was the Yankees shortstop.
for season uncontested, just season back to season back to season.
Yeah, I mean, 20 whatever years it was.
And the postseason dominance, how he had the high 300 batting average.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, but he also had some really good teammates.
I agree to that, yep.
I mean, he played in an era where the Yankees just could outspend anybody and it wasn't that big of a deal.
It's a good thing that they're adjusting to that. It's going to be interesting to see how the Hall of Fame moves forward. I think that, did you see Trevor Bauer's video about the status of the MLB and what needs to change?
Yeah. But that guy's fucking
I
crazy.
agree.
Yeah, I can't listen to that guy.
He may be crazy, but he had a good point. He said the MLB is suffering because, number one, fans can't watch their own team in their own city.
It's true.
Why have a fucking team in your city if you can't watch them?
Yeah. They gotta take the blackouts out. You can't have blackouts for...
Can't have blackouts.
It just doesn't work that way anymore.
He said, we don't celebrate the players. He said, players can't have their own... all the cleats have to be your team's colors only. No changing it, no flair, no colors, He says, no personality, He says, if people give up a home run, and, pitchers don't like that. Well, if you don't like it, don't give up the home run. You don't like the bat flip. It's like, simple as that. Don't give up the home run.
Well, baseball...
No one's going to bat flip on a strikeout.
Baseball's caught within itself. Because baseball is the old school game. It's the classic game. It's what made part of what America is baseball. And so it's hard to get away from the tradition. And one thing that's killing them right now, and I agree with you on this, they say the average baseball fan is like 50. And so that's really bad. Whereas the average basketball fan is something like 19.
Because kids aren't interested. And they don't know the players, they can't watch the players, and they've been priced out of going to the games.
They've been priced out of going to the games. That's a big one. That's probably the number one thing for me. They need to stop paying these guys so damn much. And revert that into reducing ticket prices, reducing concession prices. I mean, it shouldn't cost you... If I go to a game, it's going to cost me at least $100.
What was the stat that, Mike Trout's getting paid more than the Pirates organization right now or something like that? What was it?
Yeah, that's probably true. Well, I remember there was a few years ago when the Astros were real bad that their highest paid player was Wandy Rodriguez playing for the Pirates.
Oh my gosh. I remember that the Yankees had more people on the DL that cost more than the entire Astros 25-man roster.
Yeah.
That was embarrassing for the Astros and those teams, man. But it's still embarrassing for the Astros now. I know where we're at. But, no, it's unbelievable that what's been occurring to that. It's killing it. I think that to say that MLB's stuck in an issue right now between old and new is false. I believe that baseball has always been fighting that. From back on, from changing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Hey, we're going to
always
throw
been
overhand.
like
And then people were like, what? Go back to throwing underhand. And then, what? There's a mound. What? You're moving the mound back. Oh, you're lowering the mound. All this stuff. And then, oh, what? can't a pitcher pitch all 9 innings? You know, what's this reliever crap? You know, I feel like there's always no DH. And they're always changing something about the game. I think that one thing that's really hurting the sport is the pitch clocks, you know, and we have to get it, because Trevor Bauer made a great point. He said, the fact that the game goes 3 hours versus 2 hours and 57 minutes does not make a kid want to watch the game more.
That's the one that drives me crazy. They save like an average like 4 minutes a game. It's like 4 minutes isn't that big of a deal to me.
I like the change about staying in the box. I'm sure we've all seen those players back in the day where, like, every freaking pitch they had to step out to readjust their batting gloves. Every pitch. Even if they didn't swing.
I was a diehard Nomar Garcia-Parra fan. All that guy did was waste time out of the box.
Oh, yeah. And I love it. They're like, hey, you can't back out of the box unless, you know, you were thrown out or have to readjust something. I love that rule. That's great for the speed and pace of play. There are pace of plays that need to be considered. So I like that. I'm not so certain about this whole must pitch to 3 people. And
I'm not a big fan of that rule. When I saw that, I was like, you should be able to use your team however you want to use your team. Like,
and really what it comes down to being is whenever the Brewers fooled the Dodgers, and the Dodgers threw a pity party about that. I don't know if you remember for everyone listening.
I remember.
What essentially happened was Wade Miley, and they're like, hey, we're going to start Wade Miley, and so they loaded it up on righties, and Wade hasn't walked the first guy, he walked the first guy, and they pull him, and they come out with a righty, and the righty does a really good job.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was like, that's no problem with me.
That's part of the game.
Yeah, what you went through, you literally hurt yourself from having 13 pitchers available for yourself to 12.
Yeah. Like if you're going to sacrifice an arm for the game, now if you only throw to one batter, you can obviously pitch him later in the series. It's not a big deal. But if that game goes, you know, super extra innings, you're probably going to want to Wade Miley around.
Yes. Okay, boys, it's been a great time at the BackYard Podcast, but Dealer's got to take a leak. So, he's going to head on out, and I'm going to wrap up my side on the segment.
Well, Dealer, thank you so much for joining us, and you get your beauty sleep.
Have a good night, Deal.
Alright, guys, I'll catch you guys later. It's been a great time at the BackYard. I'll see you guys next time.
Well, quite to the eccentric performance from our good old buddy Dealer. Well, Coolhand, let me ask you, as the resident Astros fan, a lot of players, some of whom we've mentioned, Trevor Bauer, Aaron Judge, Mike Trout, the entirety of the Los Angeles Dodgers organization, has voiced their displeasure, let's put it mildly, at the Astros cheating. And how do you think this is going to affect the Astros organization or baseball in general? Do you think this whole scandal will drum up views? Do you think the Astros will become a bad boys Pistons sort of deal where people will watch them just to hate on them? Do you think teams and pitchers will go out of their way to, you know, hit the Astros players as much as the 83.5 that Sportsbook predicted? What do you think?
Yeah, predicted hit by pitches. Yeah. So, I think the Astros should actually embrace being the villain. They're not going to be able to talk their way out of it. It doesn't matter if innocent or not. People just are going to assume they're guilty. That's the society we live in now. So, you know what? Embrace it. And I call it the Howard Stern theory on how things work. It's also a lot true with like the Dallas Cowboys, that more people are watching because they hate them than because they like them.
And you call this the Howard Stern theory?
I call it the Howard Stern theory because they did a study back when Howard Stern really got big in the early 90s about, you know, who was listening and why he got so big. And what they found out was that more people actually listened to Howard Stern because they wanted to hate on him than were listening to him because they enjoyed listening to him. And so he just started being more outrageous so that more people would listen to him so they'd have to hate him.
That is like a prototype of the outrage marketing you see today. To a T, actually.
I mean, I'm not going to say he was the first one. I mean, he had like George Carlin and stuff. But he was the first one to really take it to like a national level. Like, I remember hearing about this when I was growing up as a kid. And it was a big deal. And it was like, oh, these people were listening to Howard Stern, but it turned out that most people listening to Howard Stern were people we hate. And so, it doesn't matter what the Astros do. People are going to still hate them. Like, that part has already moved on. They might as well embrace the hate and make some money.
So with that in mind, we know how the fans and how the fans are going to react. How do you think the rest of the Major League Baseball is going to react?
I mean, you're going to have your pitchers that are going to be pissed, like, oh, you cost me some money in my career and all these things, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't really think it actually helped them that much. I think that part of it's way overblown. It may have helped a little bit, but I wouldn't say it helped to some crazy degree. They still won on talent. They're still going to probably win the division this year, and they might go back to the World Series. They are that talented. And so one thing people don't realize about that scheme, they're talking about the hitting. Well, really what took them where they went was pitching. So.
And that's why I'm a tad skeptical of your claim that the Astros might go back to the World Series. Because, yeah, their pitching core was great. And yeah, Garrett Cole is a significant loss. And then Greinke...
World Series without Garrett Cole.
But who were their other pitchers? Verlander was still there. They didn't have Greinke.
Well, they traded for Verlander that year. They had Dallas Keuchel,
who's on Atlanta, I believe.
Yeah, he's in Atlanta now. Lance McCullers.
I don't remember seeing his name on the lineup that last season.
Well, he had Tommy John last year.
Oh.
Brad Peacock, who did actually pitch in last year's team. But he's gone now. They got some other guys. They got this kid Forrest Whitley, who's arguably the best right-handed arm in minor league baseball right now. So,
while the Astros are certainly talented, I'm not convinced they can get past the Yankees if they go to the conference series.
Yeah, well, a lot of it too is in baseball. It's really about getting hot at the right time. There's a Cardinals team that beat the Tigers. It was like 2006, 2007, something like that. Where the Cardinals only won 83 games that year.
While that's true,
Division and just kind of snuck in and got hot at the right time and ended up winning it.
I mean, you could say the same for the Nationals, specifically with Howie Kendrick, Juan Soto, Rendon. But my point
it was a legitimate player. And Soto, was coming into his own, but he was still a rookie, and he got real hot.
While that's true, the thing is that like you said, the Astros got to the World Series due to pitching, and when they played the Yankees bats didn't exactly go cold. They just didn't have an ace or an answer for a Verlander, a Cole, a Greinke, a fourth person. But now the Yankees have an ace, and a damn good one too. So,
but they did lose Paxton, who's going to be out half the year. I mean, they have some quality players, most definitely, but like I said, it's going to be about getting hot at the right time, and who's going to Yankees have better than anybody else, the back end of the bullpen is just unbelievable.
They do have a very strong bullpen.
And so if they get a lead, I mean, they're probably not going to give that up. So that's going to allow them to win a lot of games. They're probably going to have home field. Especially adding Cole really deepens that starting rotation because they basically bought back the same starting rotation plus Garrett Cole. So they're going to be a good team. Like I said, it's just going to be about getting hot at the right time. I mean, I wouldn't even put it past the Rays to somehow get out of the American League.
Now, did the Rays lose to the Astros in the playoffs this season, or am I thinking of a different team?
No, they did. They lost in the division round.
Now, was that the one where they forced a Game 5, or was that a different team?
No, they forced Game 5. The Astros played all the playoff games this year. They had 5 against the Rays, 7 against the Yankees, and 7 against the Nationals.
I mean, their players were gassed.
That's another thing, too. They played a lot of baseball over the last couple of years.
Yes, they have, and, the Nationals capitalized on it. I mean, in theory, a Greinke versus Scherzer Game 7 World Series game should be phenomenal, but I think that game total had, 4 strikeouts? So, hey, I mean, I doubt Washington's looking the gift horse in the mouth.
Right. Hey, man, you know what? They won it fair and square, and they outpitched the Astros, which is why they won that World Series.
Yes, indeed.
They deserved it. They were a good team. It wasn't like they were a bunch of scrubs. So.
Definitely. Well, that is going to do it for this baseball-centric episode of the Backyard Bullshit Podcast. And before we sign off permanently, Coolhand, what little tease do you have for our audience about our next episode?
Our next episode's gonna have we're gonna have a special guest.
Really? And
yes.
And who is this person? Our special guest.
This is gonna be 5-point vids.
5-point videos? Oh my god!
Yeah. Look at us.
Yeah.
Us bringing in the fancy stuff.
Yes, we are. And who's going to be on our podcast the next episode after that?
That's good old nice and clean urinating tree.
Oh my god. Urinating tree. Well, folks, I would say we have our Thanos post-credits scene. Thanks for listening to us. My name is Mickey, and I'm joined by Coolhand.
Have a good night.
Folks, we'll see you very, very soon.